Hello, my name is Lynette Stevens and I'm with Cognistx. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm going to pass it over to Roshan for a brief introduction and to tell you why we're here today.
Hi, I'm Roshan Bhave. I'm a senior data scientist at Cognistx. Been working with NLP and computer vision, various other machine learning modalities. And today we're going to be talking about our Cognistx document intelligence system.
Roshan, can you explain what Cognistx Intelligent Document Systems is and how it works?
Absolutely. So Cognistx intelligent document system uses unsupervised clustering techniques to basically categorize and organize sets of documents into appropriate clusters based on their content and their visual structure. So how it would work is a client would go in and specify a repository of documents, and our system would go through and cluster the documents without any metadata present, using the content itself from the documents. And with these clusters, we would be able to see documents that are not only similar in content but actual structure. Such as tax forms that may have three spaces after the the title, as opposed to tax forms that may have an abundance of information without any spaces that may be entirely different. So we are basically clustering at a very granular level, and users can use this to organize their document space. They can provide labels and tags to given clusters, and they can even search for particular documents by the template itself. So we would even allow for comparison of structure and content to give an output of highly similar documents to a user-specific document that they'd like to search for.
Wonderful, that makes sense. And what would you say makes our solution at Cognistx better than the others out there?
Right. So, most of the document clustering solutions out there only focus on NLP, it seems. So, like I mentioned, the automatic clusters that are generated within sets of documents are, heavily focused on content only. So, for example, you may have emails and other documents clustered together because they have the same exact terms or sequence of terms. And that is, basically the NLP type of logic. It recognizes patterns within terms and, semantic similarities. However, we at Cognistx are bridging the gap between, um, similarity between content and actual structure. So we're taking the structural information into account, the visual structure, by leveraging computer vision. And in that sense, we're generating much more accurate clusters. So humans in the loop will have less time manually, adjusting clusters, moving documents out of certain clusters and merging clusters. That sort of human effort is significantly reduced with our capabilities because our clusters are significantly more accurate with added computer vision features.
Perfect. Are you able to give a couple real life examples or use cases?
Absolutely. So, in the world today, there are an abundance of industries that have unorganized, unstructured data. And, in that sense, it's hard for a human analyst to, go ahead and start to organize individual documents. Of course, they can, maybe search by a specific term and find, documents with a given term. But, with large companies, with large amounts of data, this can be a very tedious and cumbersome process. So, for example, let's say in the legal industry, there are several types of forms that mean different things. So in that sense, if a legal representative were to search for a particular form and within maybe a repository within an internal system, they would, probably search for a given form by searching like maybe legal contract, and the search results would populate loads of legal contracts, and they may have trouble finding the particular document they're searching for. With this technique, we're able to first cluster the documents by structure and content. So we have the specific documents outlined in categories where the human analyst is able to add labels towards. And if the legal representative is trying to find a particular legal document and they have a template available, they can simply load that template into our system, and we would find highly similar documents, not only by content, but by structure. So for example, if they wanted to find a legal form from 1999 that was digitized, then they can simply upload that digitized template form, and we would find all legal documents within that same template to be searched. Whereas, if they were to simply search for, legal form 1999, they might get, a large amount of results, which is not particularly what they're looking for. So that's one example, of course, in the legal industry. And, the healthcare industry has an abundance of forms, whether it be patient forms, drug forms, or, any sort of HIPAA guidelines even. So, and a lot of them are refined over time. So if a particular healthcare professional is trying to find a form that was refined 2 years ago, they can do that with our system much significantly faster.
Roshan, can you give us some specific real life examples of how Cognistx has applied this with a client?
Absolutely. So as I had mentioned before, lots of industries have unstructured and unorganized data. And one particular industry is the cybersecurity industry, specifically with darknet monitoring. So, darknet monitoring companies like Kroll, who, was our client, had an abundance of data streamed from the dark web onto their servers. And all of that data was, unorganized, unstructured. Of course, they can infer whether or not an email was present or a credit card was present, but the type of, document or type of, website that it was streamed and scraped onto their server is, generally unknown. So with our clustering mechanism, we're able to sort of categorize the various types of documents that are prevalent on the dark web. And specifically for breach detection, we can see, which documents that, contained maybe the client's name or client's email domain name. We can sort of narrow down a list of documents in that case. And still, it's a considerable amount of documents, anywhere from like 10,000 to 20,000 documents, which would take considerable amount of time for analysts to manually review. So with our clustering mechanism, we were able to sort of identify the various categories of documents, and with relatively low amount of time, like within a day or two. We were able to generate certain clusters. And so, analysts in that case, instead of reviewing individual documents that were exposed on the dark web, they were able to view clusters of documents that were highly similar to each other. And in that regard, we were able to categorize clusters as, this contains highly critical information, or maybe that, this does not contain as much critical information and probably did not contribute to the breach. So, when we identified with this clustering mechanism more critical clusters, this led to more opportunities for human insights in a quicker manner. So, we were able to identify the critical clusters, and we were able to, sort of use time series analysis to identify, where in correspondence to the actual breach event, when were these critical clusters exposed on the dark web? And we were able to find that there were certain clusters containing very sensitive information that were exposed at the same time, a spike of clusters right before the breach event had occurred. And we found this same exact cluster for multiple clients, multiple breached clients. So the effectiveness of this clustering algorithm significantly sped up the time for analysts to assess what exactly caused the breach, what documents contributed to this breach event to occur. So this is just one of the examples where uh, Cognistx and document intelligence system has can be used. And of course, in the realm of data breaches, it's also presented a valuable solution as well.
That is great. Thank you for those examples. That's really helpful.
Of course.
What is the process as far as setup is concerned, and how long would you say it generally takes?
Right. So, we have a very quick setup process. Our Cognistix document intelligence system is, very integratable into various environments. So basically, we have all of our models set up and pre-trained, which, would have considerable significant results for any data set. So as we go through and sort of migrate the system onto a client environment, we can directly interface with any document management systems that they have currently. So it would basically start by the client specifying either a directory or an existing software that has that manages their documents. And the Cognistix platform would be built in or integrated side by side with this platform, such that any documents that are on the system could be easily run through the Cognistix platform, and we would generate clusters separate from any existing software that they have, and those clusters could theoretically interact with the existing software too. So they would have another dimension of organization that they have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that overview. I
Of
want to
course.
mention that we can provide a demo for everything that we've talked about today. If anyone is interested, please reach out to us. Also, if you'd like more information, you can visit us at cognistx.com. And thanks for your time today, and we hope to speak with you soon.